Welcome to episode 1 of Reflect Inquiry. I'm recording this episode around the beginning of a new year, a time that often comes with a lot of ideas about change. New resolutions, new intentions, and promises to ourselves about who we will be by the end of the year or a grand achievement we hope to have. And this season has me thinking about what it actually takes to make change happen. More specifically, I've been sitting with the question of what is really within our control to change and what isn't. It feels like a good time to look back at the goals we've set in past years and reflect on what worked and what didn't. And for the things that didn't work, I've been asking myself why. Beyond simply maybe losing motivation, I'm starting to reflect on the reasons that have to do with not really accounting for the things that were realistically not up to me. Here, I keep returning to a simple idea from Stoic philosophy that clarity often begins when we distinguish between what is within our control and what isn't. I'm finding that this distinction changes how I think about a new beginning. Take a resolution like, I want to buy a house this year. When we slow down and look more closely, goals like this involve many things that aren't fully within our control. Market conditions, unexpected expenses, the behaviors and decisions of others, health changes, family emergencies, even natural disasters, and the list goes on. In other words, life events we couldn't have predicted at the start of the year. And this is where I want to pause for a moment. Imagine reaching the end of that year without buying the house you hoped for, but you were able to handle emergencies, maintain your housing situation, and feel more financially stable than in the previous year. It's easy to look at that year and say, well, I failed. But I don't think that's the most honest way to read that story. I mean, maybe the shift isn't about abandoning big visions altogether, right? But simply reframing what we hold ourselves responsible for. One possible example could be instead of saying I'll buy a house this year, perhaps the intention becomes I will strengthen the habits and behaviors that move me toward financial stability. Now, I want to be clear. This isn't about giving up on big intentions. And if you do want to hold on to that large goal or wide vision for the year, that can still matter. What I'm simply saying is the shift is in how we hold it. Within that larger intention, we can take another moment to ask, what's actually within my control here? And when unexpected things arise, when life interrupts, when plans change, when the ground feels a little less steady, we can kind of return to that question again. What is actually within my control here? Not to deny what's happening, but to basically reground ourselves in what we can still choose, still practice, and still show up for. Maybe that return is what allows us to keep moving, not perfectly, but steadily towards who we're becoming and what we are achieving rather than letting circumstances alone fully define the stories of our lives. Even if the larger outcome doesn't happen within a year, I think the work still counts. The growth still happened, and the foundation can be stronger than it was before things start to feel a little bit more shaky. But here, I'll leave that question open to you as well. What changes when we shift our focus from outcomes to practice? What about when we start to consider what's truly within our control to change and focus in on those behaviors? What feels different when we define success around what we can actually show up for and who we're choosing to become? That's it. If you'd like to continue reflecting on this, I've shared a simple reflection resource that I'm also using as I start this year, and it's available on the website at ReflectInQuiry.com. You're welcome to explore it on your own time. Thank you for listening today. I'm glad you're here.